I'm Wakinya Elvis, and our company is called Rent Better. I'm a graduate from Makerere University. I majored in international business, first class. But life after campus is very different. So sometimes we do not get the jobs that we hope to get. So sometimes we begin our own jobs. So I had a shop, or I still even have a shop in Equatorial where we sell phones and we were renting. So I've been doing this even when I was at campus. But the problem that we've been facing is how to pay rent. So now paying rent was not that easy. And at the end of the month, you know the Ugandan system, we pay rent at the end of the month. And throughout the period, or emyezi nga gigenda, we could have the money because we make sales day by day. But at the end of the month, you getting that money and giving it to the landlord was a bit hard. So this drove me to think of which ways could we start paying rent? Which ways would we start paying rent which can enable us to always pay on time and conveniently? So we thought about Rent Better. So Rent Better came in as a platform that eases our way to pay rent to the landlord. And not only to us, but to any other Ugandans, because we are renting with very many people. And nga bafuna obuzibu okusasula rent omwezi guweddeko. So twakolawo system ebayamba okubeera nga basobola okusasula rent landlord mu budde nga basasula batya. Rent Better tukkiriza okusasula rent mu micro-installments. We pay our rent in micro-installments. That you don't need to end the end of the month, then you pay rent. No, you can pay rent every day. So there is a system we designed for tenants whereby every single day you can pay rent. And this one mostly affects the people, or it's good for the people who are in the informal sector, who earn daily, who are not salaried, where by the end of the month your money is going to come. No, if people who are getting money every day, for example, border riders, for example, people in the shops, all that. So if you get the money every day, you can be saving your money with your landlord, so that at the end of the month, you are done paying rent. So we relieve you of the burden. What really validated our idea was when we were creating this thing, or when Rent Better was created. So when we got our first user, in fact we were the first user. So you approach the landlord and we're like, we are going to be paying through this kind of a system. So we are removing a system whereby we are giving you money every month, but we are going to start paying you daily. So all of us who are working at the shop started doing this. And every money we would get, for example, if you earn, like, for example, in a day you can make 200 on a phone. So if you can get 20K and you give it to the landlord every single day, for example, if you are paying rent of 60, in a month you have already paid your rent when you even don't know, and you're still having other profits. So when we saw when this thing was working, when we saw it when it's working so well, we are like, you know what? Let us now leave alone. We leave the proximity we are in. Let us extend it to all Ugandans. Because if you look at the studies, most of the Ugandans who are in the Kampala region are like 60% people who are living in the urban areas. And 47% of those people are renting. So that means that people come here for work and they are renting. They don't have like permanent residence. So if you can tap into that region whereby people are working, but they have the burden of rent every single day. So if you can come to solve that problem of someone paying conveniently the money without having stress. So that is what drove us to think about Rent Better, and that's what drove us to push it to every Ugandan, so that they can alleviate themselves for the burden of paying rent. So one of our biggest challenges is behavior change. People are used to paying rent at the end of the month. So now giving them something whereby they have to pay rent every day is something very hard. And we are using tech to solve this problem, because Rent Better is a platform, a mobile application. So someone has to download it on their phone, and they must have data. So you go in the application, then you create for yourself a schedule that I'm going to be paying my rent like this until the end of the month. So now that has been a challenge because most of the people do not have money for data. Most of the people we are targeting, which are in the informal sector, don't have money for data. And then to break the habit of paying every day, that is also one of the biggest challenges we are facing. But we are overcoming it. So the people who are using the applications are people who have the smartphone. And most of the people do not have smartphones. For example, border riders and people who are working in construction sites, smartphones may be hard. So we partnered with Airtel and MTN. So we introduced SSD codes, whereby we give you our merchant code and you just click in a number we shall give you if you are part of the property. So we just give you the number and then you wire your money straight with no charges to Rent Better. So that is one of the solutions we have introduced for the low-income earners. So currently our platform is running 5,000 people. So maybe the one thing that I forgot to mention was that how we work is that people can, tenants come to us and they be like, we have our landlord that we want to start paying rent. So what we do is that we approach the landlord and we sign a contract with them. So when we sign a contract with them, that contract stipulates when shall we pay them the money. Because Rent Better is not only on the side of tenants, but it's also on the side of landlords. It's a two-way thing. So how is it on the side of the landlords? Most of the landlords in Kampala do not get their money on time. So when we reached and figured out that people who are in shops, people who are in these residentials do not pay their money on time, which also inconveniences the landlord. So now Rent Better comes in as an agency to enable the landlord get their money on time. So the first thing we do with the landlord, we sign with them a contract. And that contract says that every end of the month, depending on the day the landlord will give us, Rent Better will give you the money. And the contract stipulates that we are the agents who will be helping him collect money on his property. So what we provide a landlord with, or one of the benefits that we have for the landlord, is that we give him an insurance or a guarantee, call it a guarantee, that either tenants have paid or they have not yet paid, we shall give you your full money in time. So the landlord just has to give us a date that on every third of every month, I need my money. So what Rent Better does that either tenants have paid or they have not yet paid, we give you your money. Then for us, we go back and collect from the tenants. So we also have another benefit for the landlord whereby we give them advance. Terms and conditions apply. So if a landlord has been with us and we have worked with him, we have a relationship we have built. So we extend financial rent advance to him, whereby we can give him 6 months, 7 months, or 8 months. Then for us, we keep on collecting because we have understood, or we have got to learn, that most of the landlords need money in time. And these landlords cannot go to banks to get the loans because they do not have like right books of accounts, and the banks has a long procedure. The bureaucracy is too long. So our landlords, we extend to them an advance. So if a landlord comes to us and is like, I need an advance for almost 1 year, we can give you 1 year advance. Then for us, we keep on collecting. So we are on both of the side of the tenant and on the side of the landlord. So far in Uganda, we are the only first company that incorporates property management with technology, because most of our competitors, if I may say competitors, which are not competitors, are the property managers, and for them, they are still on the traditional way of managing to collect rent, whereby they have to knock on your door and parent. Now for us, we went a step further. One day I was talking to a tenant, and the tenant was like, you people have a miracle you do in your company. I literally wake up from bed, I click on my phone and I pay rent. And after paying rent, the receipt just comes automatically. I don't need to call my landlord for the receipt. If I want any complaint with my landlord, I just go on your mobile application, type the problem, and the landlord responds. So this is like I'm living in 2016. And I was so amazed, which is what we are doing right now. because most of the other property managers do not do that. They are so traditional. And right now we are so much into the digital world that everything has to be digitalized. So we have made collecting rent so digital. We have made managing properties so digital. One of the other problems that we solved was most of the landlords that have big properties do not get time to go and visit all the properties. So they put caretakers, and some of these caretakers do not give them the money, the right amount of money. So for us, what we do is that when a landlord gives us a property, we create what we call a landlord dashboard, which is online. So we share with our landlord the dashboard. So anything that happens on his property, he's one click away from knowing anything that happens from his property. We give him a dashboard, and he, at the comfort of his home, he can see who paid, how much they paid, how much he's owed, everything that happens on his property, who is complaining about what, the toilets, everything. The landlord is in know of his property. He doesn't need to be lied to by the property managers. This person has not yet paid, yet they have paid, because we handle what we work with cashless. For us, we are cashless. We do not handle cash. Everything is digitized. We have a small percentage that we charge every landlord that we work with. So it's not a free charge. We bill. We have big ambitions, and our ambitions are targeting Africa at large. We are looking at around, in the next 3 to 5 years, we are looking at around 10 million people using Rent Better on a daily, not only in Uganda, but in East Africa, in Nigeria, in Africa, whereby someone doesn't have a burden of paying rent. They just one click away to pay rent. So we are looking at the entire Africa, anywhere whereby rent is a problem, Rent Better is the goal. So we are reaching to tap all those untapped markets and solve that problem. First and foremost, I would like to thank the government of Uganda through the Ministry of ICT for enabling us startup companies by providing resources, different and numerous resources. For example, they have provided a working space for us at the National Innovation Center, or hub, here in Nakawa, whereby our companies can reside. We have a numerous projects that they engage us in, different fundings which they provide to us. We have different working spaces. They connect us to different companies, because at the Innovation Center, this is a place whereby you get to meet different companies, share ideas, grow together. So I'd like to thank the government for that, and shall not disappoint. I'm by the names of Wakinya Elvis, and the Chief Manager of Rent Better. Rent Better is a platform that will ease your burden as a tenant and as also a landlord. It eases in rent collection and also in collecting rent as the part of the landlord. How can you access Rent Better, you may ask? You can visit Rent Better is a mobile application. If you have a smartphone, if you have an Android, you can go to Google Play Store, type in the word Rent Better, and you download that orange icon. If you are on iOS, iPhone, you can go to Apple Store and download that application. If you want more about us, you can read about us on our websites, www.rentbetterafrica.com. We are glad and we are waiting for you. Any referral, we are waiting for it. Right now we are running an advert whereby anyone who refers us a landlord, you stand a chance of your rent being covered. So if you know any landlord right there, or if you know anyone who needs help in managing their property, just call us and your rent will be sorted. Terms and conditions apply.